Just yesterday, ChatGPT launched a brand new, pretty incredible feature called Canvas. This feature feels akin to Claude's artifacts, and it could do a whole bunch of stuff, so that's what we're going to go over today. The way to think about Canvas is a new way to collaborate with ChatGPT. You type a prompt, and instead of it just being in one single chat, it opens up this separate window where you can ask ChatGPT to edit certain parts of text or code. You can ask it to update, you can ask it to add comments. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff. So I'm briefly going to tell you about it, then we're just going to play around with it. So everybody already has access to ChatGPT with Canvas. And what I really like about it is the fact that they didn't say it's coming soon. They just released it the day that they announced it. So if you click in the drop down, here it is, GPT 4.0 with Canvas beta. And they said for now, everybody with a pro or enterprise account will get access to it. And then as soon as it leaves beta, every free user will also get access to it. There are two main use cases that Canvas looks to help with: writing and coding. And obviously I definitely want to test out the coding aspects, which we will do right after this. One thing I found really interesting is they actually trained GPT 4.0 to collaborate. So this is not just the base GPT 4.0 model with some code wrapper around it. This is actually a different version of GPT 4.0 that recognizes when it should use Canvas. So for writing, it includes suggesting edits, adjusting the length, changing the reading level, adding final polish, and adding emojis. For coding, it reviews code, it can add logs, add comments, fix bugs, and port to a different language, which is pretty cool. And as I mentioned, GPT 4.0 was trained to use Canvas. So to do that, they developed these core behaviors: triggering the canvas for writing and coding. So that's obviously just getting it going. Generating diverse content types, making targeted edits, which is super interesting. So rather than redoing the entire output every time, you can actually just select a certain piece of the content and it will update that only. All right, so now I just want to test it out and show you what it's like to use it. But before I do that, I actually want to speak to something that I think a lot of companies that are built on ChatGPT should be nervous about. Now, OpenAI as a company has always described itself as a platform company. They are going to give other developers the tools that they need to build amazing AI applications. But if I'm an AI company and I'm seeing this, I would be a little bit nervous. And this feels very analogous to what I went through at my previous company. So at my previous company, we built a lot of our infrastructure on top of a company called Twilio. Twilio provides telephony services, and they were truly a platform company. All they did was provide an API until they didn't. And we built an entire suite of software on top of Twilio using SMS and phone calls and other things. And then one day, Twilio started competing with us. They started building on top of their own platform. And so if you've watched this channel at all, you know I've talked about platform risk in the past. If you build your entire business on top of somebody else's API, you are at platform risk. If they decide to change their policies, increase their price, compete directly with you because they saw a really successful business model, they will do that. There is nothing actually preventing them from doing that. And in fact, they get all of this incredible data. They get to see what all of these companies build on top of their platform, and then they can cherry pick the best ones and recreate it. This is a tried and true model for platform companies. And so now with Canvas, I'm looking at Continue and other AI-based IDEs, and they should be nervous right now because this is essentially the first step in the direction to compete with those companies. All right, so enough of that. Let me know what you think of platform risk building on top of OpenAI in the comments. All right, so we have it, GPT 4.0 with Canvas. Let's just play around with it. First, of course, let's get it to write the snake game. Now, one thing that Canvas doesn't do is execute code, and I believe Artifacts does do that. So that's one thing that it's missing. All right, so here it is. So it popped open a separate little area of the window, and it looks like a code editor. We can delete stuff, we can add it back easily. Here's the actual conversation over here, but it removed a big part of what would have been there, which is the code, and placed it in the separate window, which I love. So we have the game Snake. We can't execute it. Plus, that's not the point of this video, so I'm not going to do that. But let's see. Rather than these colors, so we simply highlight. Then down in the right corner, we have all of the different options. So add comments, add logs, fix bugs, port to a different language, and code review. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to highlight it, click Ask ChatGPT, and I'm going to say, change these colors to something else. So it should, yep, look at that. That's really cool. So it just changed these colors. Everything else stayed the same. You see the little editing update right here in the actual chat window, and that's it. I've updated the colors to new shades for better variation. All right, so that's how the basics work. So what I could also do is highlight Pygame and ask it to use a different library, which would really change the entire application. So use a different library. And I love, so now it's using Turtle, and it actually has to change a lot of things in the code, and it knew to do that, which is fantastic. And I love the little animation that it has where it's just highlighting the code as it's changing it. So I've updated the code to use the Turtle library instead of Pygame. Let me know if you need further modifications. All right, so that's what that looks like. But there's not many comments in this code right now, so let's ask it to add comments. So first, let's ask it to add comments to this set of lines of code right there. So I'm simply going to come over here, and I'm going to click add comments. And actually I was wrong. It automatically adds comments to the entire document, which is kind of weird because I only highlighted these. But now it's adding a ton of comments. But let's say we don't like this. Let's say we don't like Python. So let's port it to a different language. So I'm going to click port to different language, and look, we have a slider: PHP, C++, Python, keep current, JavaScript, TypeScript, Java. Let's do JavaScript. So I simply select that, and it should rewrite it in JavaScript. So easy. So it's done. Now it's in JavaScript. Now let's try porting it to something like C++. Yep, this looks like C++, all right. Thanks to the sponsor of this video, Vultr. Reap the benefits of the world's largest independent cloud provider when you bring your GPU workloads over to Vultr. They have the latest NVIDIA GPUs spanning 32 locations across 6 continents. Vultr delivers industry-leading price to performance and serious accessibility and reliability. Vultr's global, fully composable cloud infrastructure moves your applications closer to your users and frees you from vendor lock-in, allowing you to bring your own networking and database solutions. And if you need to scale beyond just a single cluster, Vultr's Kubernetes engine allows you to take full control over your deployment, offering up a 100% free control plane. So if you're tired of waiting for GPUs from other providers, make sure to use Vultr. You can deploy at any scale immediately, and they have H100s, L40s, and more available right now. And you can get a fraction of a card or fully dedicated bare metal systems, which gives you full control over your hardware and your throughput. They also have one-click installation of all the applications you might need for advanced machine learning workloads, allowing you to get up and running in minutes, not hours. So experience the Vultr difference. Don't get bogged down by severe wait times or limited locations. Try it free today with a $300 credit for your first 30 days when you visit getvultr.com/Berman. And make sure to use code Berman300 at checkout to get that credit. Thanks again to Vultr for sponsoring this video. All right, now let's try fixing bugs. So I'm actually gonna switch it back because I don't know C++ very well at all. I'm gonna switch it back to Python. Now let's add some bugs. So right here for the move snake, I'm going to use up twice. And let's see if it's able to catch that. So I go over here again, and I look for the fix bugs icon. I click that, and let's see what it says. So it's interesting, it's actually changing a lot of the code already. Which I don't know why it would have to do that to fix the bugs, because there was really only one bug. Let's see if it's able to fix that one, and it did. Okay. The down movement direction was incorrectly assigned to up. Now, something interesting is, as I mentioned, it changed a lot of the code, which is not exactly what I wanted, but that's fine. Let's see what happens if we just do fix bug one more time. Let's see if it just keeps finding bugs. And maybe the way it was programmed, it will just always find a bug with it. Yeah, so it's definitely changing the code again, just a little bit, but it is changing it, especially down here in the main game loop. It is changing it quite a bit. I reviewed the code, fixed a bug where the game did not reset properly upon wall collision. Okay, so it looks like maybe it's thinking iterative improvements to the game is the same as a bug fix. That's okay. All right, now let's add some logs. First, let's just try to add logs to something that I highlight. I wonder if it's gonna do that. Nope, it's adding logs to everywhere. So it doesn't seem like just highlighting the code does anything unless you are using that Ask GPT feature. So it added a bunch of logs now. Let's see if I can remove the logs. Now remove the logs. Okay, yeah, so it is removing the logs, all right. I mean, this seems pretty cool. I think this is very basic to start with, but I like it, and it's definitely much better to kind of go through the iteration process of the code here and then paste it into VS Code. But honestly, This is kind of what Continue and other IDE AI coders already do. So they still have a long ways to go, but it seems clear that they are definitely heading in the direction of competing with AI coding assistants. All right, now let's try some creative writing and let's see what it does. So I'm going to start a new chat. So write me a story about strawberries becoming intelligent. Intelligence, I miswrote that. Okay, so we have a story, and just like I expected, it should have output a new canvas area of the page. So does this story capture the essence of what you imagine? Let me know if you'd like to make any changes. So just like normal, we can come in here, we could delete stuff, we could add, remove. This is fully editable. And just like normal, you can highlight certain areas and do Ask ChatGPT just like that. But we're going to wait on that. Let's go down to the options we have. So suggest edits, adjust the length, reading level, add final polish, and add emojis. So let's first do suggest edits. This is really cool. Okay, so it's gonna highlight different areas and kind of similar looking to Google Docs. It gives you little comments that you can actually accept or decline. So here, consider adding more vivid description of the setting to draw the reader in more effectively and create a stronger atmosphere. So let's do that. So it should rewrite that part. There we go, really good. Let's do it again right here. So this says the nanobots were designed to enhance neural connections in living organisms, and they worked their way into the strawberries, nesting in amongst the seeds that dotted their red skin. This sentence could benefit from a bit more explanation about why the nanobots were designed this way. Okay, let's try it. All right, now it says originally intended for medical research to improve brain function. So it gives more background story. So that's great. So I'm going to decline these other ones. And now let's adjust the length. And again, we have another slider. So I want it to be shorter, and it should rewrite the whole thing. It's really cool, the little subtle animations that they have. So here we go, much shorter. Let's see if we go even shorter than that. So I'm gonna go shortest. All right, and what happens if we do it again? Let's find out. So I'm gonna adjust the length again and go shortest again. I wonder if it's gonna go shorter or just keep it at the same length. Okay, so it did go a little shorter. Let's try to go shorter again. Just wanna see where the limits of the functionality are. Yeah, so it'll keep actually just shortening it. So now let's go longer. Okay, great. Let's try something else. Right now, I don't know the current reading level, but it's gonna keep it there. Let's go to the kindergarten level. So it's going to rewrite everything and just use simpler words, easier grammar to read, etc. So one day, special rain fell on some strawberries. Yeah, so this looks very good. Now let's change the reading level to graduate school. Yeah, so they're definitely using longer, more sophisticated words. Definitely looks like this would not be possible to read by a kindergartner. So that's really cool. Now let's go back to a kindergarten level and let's see what happens if we select kindergarten level after selecting kindergarten level. So there we go. And let's select kindergarten level again. Yeah, it looks about the same. So it just kind of rewrote it. It didn't necessarily make it even more basic, and that would make sense. So let's go back and let's do high school level. All right, there we go. Now let's add emojis. Now, funny thing about the add emojis feature, it's pretty much useless. I mean, unless that is exactly what you're looking for it to do, but why would you do that? And Sam Altman posted a funny poll on Twitter yesterday. Is add emojis in Canvas the best feature OpenAI has ever shipped? Yes and yes. And so, of course, the answer is yes. So there we go. It added emojis. Now I'm going to say remove the emojis over here. Oh, I see a lot of errors actually. So here's rain just out of nowhere. I think I saw a misspelling somewhere in here, but I'm not seeing it now, so maybe it corrected it. And let's go to add final polish now. Hopefully it corrects this rain at the beginning. It did. Okay, good. And it added a title now, so this is really cool. So I've come to adacore.com and I'm going to give it some problems. I'm going to have it fix bugs. So I'm going to highlight the code that they have. I'm going to copy it. And the problem is uninitialized variables and fields. So let's switch back to Canvas and I'm going to say fix bugs in this using Canvas. I don't know if I actually have to do that. We'll see. Yep. Okay. So it did open it up. Contacts bug fix. So let's see. It's writing the code out first. Good. And it didn't actually tell me what the bugs were. Here we go. I've addressed a few issues in the original code. Initialization of done. In the complete procedure, done was not being explicitly initialized to false, null contact definition, and get by name initialization. So these seem like what needed to be fixed. So I think it did catch this c.name length on line 86. The contacts.complete, not initialized, let's look. Yeah, the complete procedure. I think that fixed it. Obviously, I'm not checking exactly, but it seems like it definitely identified it. So that's the new feature, ChatGPT with Canvas. Looks very cool, still very basic, but I think if they continue to iterate, they're going to be competing with a lot of other AI products built on top of them. Either way, let me know what you think of Canvas. Let me know what you think of platform risk of being a company built on top of OpenAI's API. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.